Dr. Fitzryan.
Myself and my daughter were both signed up, so we're
Okay.
collaborating.
Got it.
So, okay. Good evening, school board, and Dr. Birdsong. Dr. Ellen Fitzenreiter. I am the parent of a middle school student who currently goes to Northside. I wish to make an NPS, she's going to introduce herself at her 3 minutes, budget suggestion, but first I want to give some background information to clarify the relevance and reasoning of my request. Over the past 4 years, I have struggled and been frustrated by the process of obtaining for my daughter the free and appropriate public education that she is entitled to as a child with a learning disability under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. What has bothered me immensely has been the fact that despite multiple acknowledged issues with decisions and actions of NPS administration and IEP teams at the school level for 4 schools now, there never seemed to be any accountability. I want to share with you now a flow chart that I made of how I understood what I would call the chain of command of responsibility that I thought would most likely be here at NPS, from the students to the top. At the bottom is 4,400 plus students who receive special education services under IDEA.
Each blue dot represents 100 students.
Okay. Each blue dot represents 100 students. To give you some perspective as to the responsibility of guiding the education of these children in the care of NPS, did you know that the Department of Learning Support serves a student body of that is larger than 81 entire school districts in Virginia?
Above that is our 35 elementary schools, our 6 middle schools, and our 5 high schools.
Okay. Above that is the Department of Learning Support. Then the Deputy Superintendent of Academic Affairs, currently in acting position, and the Superintendent of Schools, currently in interim. I confess I am not exactly sure where the school board fits into all this. I believe for the past 4 years that the Department of Learning Support was tasked with the responsibility of supervising the implementation of a federally mandated program, IDEA, with responsibilities that would include, for example, leadership, vision, management, supervision, and otherwise oversee the special education programming in the Norfolk Public School District. Would you agree that this is a reasonable assumption? Maybe you have it too. I asked during a recent SEAC meeting, can you hold this, girl? Okay. Several questions during public comment that I have shared with you. I have also emailed it, I'll be emailing it to Ms. Rose Tanner, and I will abbreviate the responses, and you have them with you. I asked, what formal process is done by learning support when individuals, teams, or perhaps schools have been found to be of concern to ensure that they are educated that this does not continue with other kids and not just training or even a debriefing? The response, second 3 minutes. The Office of Learning Support and Special Education Services does not directly supervise building staff. I could stop right there. But my second question, are records being kept of repeat offenders and what is done with them? So identified administrators and teams who have been found to frequently make inappropriate decisions about IEPs. If this question pertains to individual staff members, situations are handled on a case-by-case basis. If there are concerns that require formal disciplinary measures, that is handled by the individual's immediate supervisor and the director of the concerned department. I asked if there are bigger problems or pre-due process or mediation once they hit learning support's radar. When does learning support step in and try to de-escalate a situation where the parents' concerns are valid in a timely manner? And is there even a process to do so rather than to just be defensive? The response was that Office of Learning Support Special Education Services provides support when contacted by the school, the parent, or the community school division staff. They provide support when a need for support is identified. So do you realize what this means?
It means that no one is supervising or leading special education programming at the district level in Norfolk.
Hold that. All right, my mind is blown. All right, so here's our flow chart. Shui, where the X's go. They do not support, they support. They do not manage All right, you heard me. All right, I quote again, the Office of Learning Support, Special Education Services does not directly supervise building staff. All right, here's the green guys. Here's our high school green guys and our middle school guys. In other words, decisions are made for better or worse by administrators and professionals at the school level in each individual school who have varying degrees of experience, certification, knowledge of special education law and regulations, not to mention compassion, with no oversight. We have been in 4 schools here in Norfolk, and I can tell you that our experience with school administrations has been this.
They do not want learning support, people poking their noses into their schools and business.
Learning support has no authority to make a decision on an IEP team. In fact, any individual present at an IEP team from learning support can only make suggestions that can be utterly ignored by the school. What everyone thinks is happening, supervision and management of a student body of 4,400 plus students, is not happening.
And it has been like this for years.
My budget proposal to you, the school board, is that room be made in the budget to hire a true director of special education if we're not going to fix what we've got. And we shouldn't wait until this proposed budget for 2021 to start this process, because with families like mine suffering, with children not receiving the education they are entitled to, and with NPS graduating students from special education with a recognized diploma at half the national average, it needs to be done immediately. Thank you.